Hey, how's it going? So I'm going to show you how to do everything from start to finish, setting up your MongoDB locally, right? So it's going to be run on Windows Server, right? Then we're going to be using Node Express and Mongoose to connect to this database, do some things like fetch the data, add some information into the database, and then to export this information and then import it into actual MongoDB, right? So I'm gonna link this document in the description below. So this is kind of the stack, the sources that you're gonna need to complete this exercise, but I'm going to show you everything. It's just that, like, if you find some error somewhere or something is not working, then you can maybe refer to the sources, right? Okay, so, and I'm assuming you have MERN stack, right? So you know what you're doing, right? Because this is not for beginners. Otherwise, you're just gonna get lost. Okay, so go ahead and set up a basic, basic Express server. Okay, so this is our basic server. We're gonna npm run serve, right? So I'm assuming you know how to set up a basic server, right? I'm just like, if you can't do this stuff, it's gonna get very difficult. Okay, so now we're running on port 500, right? So the first thing, okay, so we can pause this. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go through this video here. This video here, how to install MongoDB, right? So he's going to, he goes through all the steps, so I'm not going to replicate them. I mean, you literally just have to follow exactly what he says, right? Go to Mongo, right? Products. Then he explains, but you need community server. Actually, I'll do it with you, so you'll be able to see it. So we go to mongodb.com. Products, community server, right? Then he goes through so MCI, right? Then we click on download. It's going to so then go through the setup, right? Exactly as he's saying. Now he says custom, you can do custom, right? Now, in the new one, you're not gonna have client, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, it's still gonna work, right? Now in here he tells you, yes, that's correct. That's fine. Now he says not to install Mongo Compass, but go ahead and install it, right? Because it's too good. They're like, Mongo Compass is just too good. And right, once you have it done, okay, once you have it done, you should have a folder, right? So if we go into this PC, we go into program files, you're gonna have this folder here, MongoDB. And that's how you know that it's up and running. Okay? So once you have this done, you will have an icon on your desktop called MongoDB Compass, I think it's called, right? If you don't have it, then find it in here, which is Compass, you know, like this. Or MongoDB Compass, right? That's an app. So you click on it. Now, what this will do is it will start MongoDB on this server, kind of like your Express server, only it's gonna be in Windows, right? And it's gonna run on this local host. So we click on connect, and now it's running. Okay? So this is our databases. They're by default. So they're here. And then you can copy the connection string from here. I'll show you like what the connection string is. Connection string is exactly the same as your, you know, the long one with the password. It's exactly the same. I'll probably have to demo it to you, but we'll get here. Okay, so let's create a database first. Okay, well, my apologies. Just I'm up for like such a long time now. We'll let the computer create a database for us, right? We'll just need the connection string. Okay, cool. So now this thing is running. Alright, so now let's... I'm assuming you have correct packages installed. So we're talking, you have Course. I don't know if you need it, but I always install Course. Express, Mongoose, NodeMon, .environment if you want. But mainly you just need Mongoose. Okay, so then the next thing we are doing is what would be a good way to do it? Let's set up a root, because it's gonna be much more. Okay, so let's put roots like this. And let's create a, let's call it YouTube DB. Okay, in here we need to copy and paste my magic code for connecting to MongoDB. Where's my magic code? I'm gonna link, like, again, this is gonna be in the document, right? So this is basic code for connecting to a Mongo database. And we're not using connect, we're using create connection. So it's slightly different, right? So we're gonna, as soon as it connects, it's gonna say connected to YouTube database. Well, this is not. Yeah, so this is not roots. Yeah. Okay, I'm trolling a little bit. So this is not. Yeah, I'm trolling, my apologies. So we need to create a folder called model. Right, so then in there we're gonna copy and paste this code. Because this is going to be YouTube API. Let's just call it YouTube API. And here we're going to create YouTube DB connection JS, like this. And now copy and paste this code in here. So, okay, so this is going to be our connection, right? So in here, you see this long code where you have your password, mambo jumbo. Like you normally use this to connect to remote MongoDB. But we're not going to be doing that. We're going to copy this connection, right, string, and we're going to stick it in here. Now we're going to name the name of our database. So let's call this YouTube DB, like this. Now, I know we don't have it created, but normally it should be created automatically as soon as we connect to it, right? And then name of the collection is going to be, I don't know, let's say dummies, dummy users. There you go, dummy users. So this is the name of the database. This is the name of your collection. And then for schema, you see like new schema. I just made it not strict, so you can pretty much stick anything into it. But normally you need to create a schema, you know, like name, title, whatever. Title is going to be a string. Let's say, I don't know, age, which is going to be a number, I think. But to avoid doing this mumbo jumbo, you can just put new schema, put in anything you want, strict false. When you say strict false, this means that you can put anything into it and it will accept it, right? It's not like a TypeScript where it will tell you error. It will just accept anything. And timestamp is just going to tell you when it was created and when it was updated. Okay. So now we want to create an instance of it, or whatever it's called. I don't know what's the correct name of it, but let's say const YouTube DB dummy user schema is equal to require. Now you can name this whatever the hell you want. It doesn't matter, right? So now, because what we're doing is we're importing this schema basically into it, this one here. So it's inside YouTube database, and the collection is dummy users. So this is why I called it YouTube dummy user schema, right? So where does it exist? It sits in models, right? In model, and then I think it's the only one in there. Yeah, there you go. So now every time we want to create or fetch some information, it's gonna come from here. Okay. So this is our connection. I probably should not put it in here. I should have put it into API. But okay, let's create the API. So API is gonna be our magic code. Where is my magic code? So now I just want to create a router basically. Yeah, I just want to create a router. So actually, screw the router, honestly. It's gonna get confusing with the router. Yeah, so let's just remove the router, it doesn't matter. Forget about the router. Okay, so now we have our connection schema running, right? We're pretty much good to go. So now let's create a actually, do you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna actually create one. So we're gonna create a database. What did I call it again? I called it this, right? That's the database. Collection name. What was the collection name? Dummy users. There you go. Okay, so now we have the database. Oh. So you see, it already created it for us, technically speaking. Technically, this should be the correct name, because I don't think you can. I don't think you can do it this way. But let's see. Let's see. Okay. So now we have everything set up. We are connected to the database. Now let's just create. Right. So let's create a root. App.get request. Let's say add user. Whoopsie. So asynchronous code. Let's do await. No. Const user1 equals new. This guy's schema. I think it's like this. Name John. S name, which is second name, Doe. Title, let's do, I don't know, programmer. There you go. And now we want to save it, right? User1, save, I think that's the command. Okay, so now we need to call this root from somewhere. You can use Postman, but I'm just gonna use a browser, just like a standard browser. So we are running on, let me just, that's our port 500. So we, and what's the name? Add user, basically. Add. Yeah, it's going to spin forever because there's no, so console log, user added, and then response end. Let's just do this. Okay, so let's say user added. You see, so we added user, so now this user should appear in one of those databases, right? So view reload data. Reload data, and then there you go, there he is. Yeah, that's what I thought, is that you cannot have names that are camel cases. Like it's not gonna work. So so this name here is incorrect. This name here, like this, is incorrect. Okay, and YouTube DB is okay, right? Yeah, you can use camel cases in the database name, but not in the, what you call it, in the collection. Okay, so now we can see that we are adding users. You can see that, John Doe has been added twice. Let's add another John Doe or whatever. Let's call this guy Adam, I don't know, Smith, and he will be manager. Okay, so now we're gonna call this from here again. We're gonna have user added in console log, and if we refresh, it should be here now. Yeah, okay, Adam manager. Okay, so now let's say, like you technically kind of done, because you can see how it's connected. I mean, it's literally exactly the same way as connecting to the remote one, only you're using a string which comes from here. You see? And that's kind of, other than that, I mean, it's exactly the same. Right? Okay, so the next thing we want to do is, now this is the difficult part. How do we, well, let's make a query into the database. So you kind of, let's do another root. App get let's do data, right? And we want to find all the data, right? So let's say let data equals to await, and then we want to do this dot find, like this. Then we want to console log data, and then respond send data as well, like this. So now if we query this, we should be able to see all of this. Yeah, so there's the data. You probably see it like this, but I'm seeing it like this because I have a Chrome extension which is called JSON. I don't remember what's the name. JSON formatter. Yeah, so otherwise it looks like shite, you know. It's very hard to read it. Okay, so now I've proven to you that it's completely working, everything is fine. Happy enough. So now comes the difficult part, right? Is how do we export the data, right? So let's say okay, we finished with our development. We want to go into production. How do we put this data into MongoDB, right? The actual, like I'm talking about your MongoDB, which is like this one here. You see, like, so that's your Mongo. How do we actually stick it in here? So we're gonna put into MongoDB under YouTube users, right? So we're gonna have another one which is gonna be called YouTube users. Okay, so this is how you do it. First you need to export this collection. Export full collection, right? Select fields, which is all of them. Now it has to be JSON. Has to be JSON. SCV, I don't know. I haven't checked it, but I mean, in docs it says it has to be JSON, right? So stick it as JSON. Okay, so let's save this to desktop. Dummy users JSON. Okay. Export. So now if we close all of this, there is the file, right? Okay. So the next thing we need to do, is we need to go into here, which is gonna be this PC. You basically need to go into the folder where your MongoDB is, right? You need to go into MongoDB. Where's the MongoDB? There it is. Server. And now you need to go into bin. Let me just delete this. Well, okay. Now you will not have files in here which are called Mongo export, Mongo files, Mongo import, and blah blah blah, right? You need to download these files from here. So you see, it's in here basically. I'm gonna link this in whatchamacallit in here. Yeah, you see, that's the file. That's the thing that you need. So you see, MongoDB shell downloads. That's the one that you want, I think, right? No, you want MongoDB database tools. These ones. I think it's this one, right? Let me just have a look. Yeah, that's the tools. So you basically copy them and stick them into the folder. So you see, you're gonna be in bin, and you're gonna copy and paste them in here. I already have them, so I'm just gonna click on skip, right? So now that it has it installed, you are ready to use the terminal, right? So the final thing you need to do is you need to add your file, the JSON file that you exported, in here, right? So just copy it into this folder. Okay. So I'm assuming you have terminal installed. If not, then install Windows terminal. Let me just have a look. Where is the Windows terminal? Yeah, so this is a database tool, so let me just change this to... Alright, so you need to install Windows terminal. This one here, I think. Yes. So go ahead and install it, right? Once this thing is installed, go into the folder. Again, I'm talking about the one where program files, MongoDB, right? And then open in terminal, right? Alternatively, if you don't have this command, open in like if you can't do it this way, you can do it through terminal, like the standard terminal. Where is the terminal? It's just a little bit slower. So once you install it, your terminal is going to be here. Then you wanna... You can probably do it this way, to be honest with you. You see, once you navigate to the folder, just copy and paste it like this, and that should technically... But you can manually do it. It's like this. I think it's just CD. Then CD again. Then we want program files, probably. I'm not like a super... I'm not a super expert in this thing, so... CD, program files, probably. Shite. How do we go into... No, it should be program files. Oh my god. Hold on a sec. Let me just figure out how to do this. Okay. So you put on CD and then start tabbing, like tab. Just click on tab. You see? And it will find program files for you, right? Alternatively, you can just do program and then tab, and it will find it for you. So now we're in program files. Where do we need to go? We need to go to program files, MongoDB. So MongoDB, right? LS stands for list of sources or whatever it's called. Then we need CD. I think it's Mongo. Yeah. Server. Yeah, so I'm just pressing tab and it automatically finds it. We need bin, right? So now you should be in the bin. Okay? So this gets you, that's how you get there, right? So alternatively, I mean, you should have this command, which is just like this, and open in terminal. So this automatically opens the terminal in the correct location. Like, I'm not a big fan of CLI, honestly. This CLI, like command line interface. Okay, so the command you're going to be using, I'm going to have to color code it, honestly. It's quite difficult. So let me just color code the command for you. So this is import command color coded. Alright, so this is self-explanatory. This is the command you're using. It's called Mongo import, right? So it will trigger this one here, Mongo import. Now you have to type -- URI. This is gonna be your connection string, right? So this is like standard. Let's just highlight it. So MongoDB is the command, right? Command URI. You need this, right? So we're talking about this one here. Now this is going to be your. This is your connection string with password and username. So in here, right, this part here, main DB, right, is gonna be your name of your database. Okay, so if you're putting it at no Flanders, you have it YouTube users, whatever it is that you called it. That's the one you need to specify. So let's put this as red. Right. So this is name of your database. But you kind of know that because that's the way we do it in the, what you call it, that's the way we do it in the, when we're connecting remotely anyway, right? So now, then collection, so this code here is the name that you want to assign to the collection basically. It's a bit confusing, but okay. So this will be collection, so let's call this, we're gonna be calling it YouTube users, right? So we're gonna call this YouTube or dummy users. How did we call it? Let me just see. Dummy users. Okay. So we're gonna be calling this dummy users. This is the name of the collection that lives inside the database. Right, so this is like one of, that's the database, and these are the collections. So we're gonna have a third one in here that will say whatever it says. Okay. Now file. So this will call this. Let's make this blue. So this is the file that you want to upload. Now remember, you have to put the file into the same folder, right? Otherwise, it's not going to work, right? It will say, oh, file is missing. So our file name, what was our file? Dummy users JSON. So that's our file name. So that's the file. So it's gonna be dummy users JSON, and this is basically mandatory key. If you don't put this thing in, it will give you an error. It will give you the error which will say, what's the name of the error? Yeah, it will give you this error here. If you don't put, if you're seeing this error, decoded array into D, that means you forgot to put the JSON array key in, right? If you don't put this key in, it will give you this error. And how to fix it can be found in here. But the fix is basically put this thing at the end, okay? So now you can just copy and paste it, honestly. Just insert your own names or whatever, how you named it, right? And it's pretty much good to go, I think. Gonna be some kind of astronomical error. Watch. Oh, no, it worked. Okay. So now we want to go and we want to refresh. And we should have them in here. Yeah, so there are dummy users. And there is the data. Okay. Tam. So this is replica of this. I'm up for like 17 hours now, so my apologies, I'm just yawning all over the place. Okay, so now we have our dummy users. Now, there is one more step that I kind of included. So see the way you have to put your files into the folder all the time, right? So now it can get annoying, right? So you can do it through desktop as well, right? So I'll show you how to do it, but let's just add another user, otherwise it might complain. let's add Bob Smart. Let's just do Bob Smart, and he will be titled, I don't know, director, whatever. Okay, so let's call this localhost. I think it was add user, right? Yes. Okay, so add, I think user should have been added. Okay, now let's export. Again, yes, yes, yes. And now this time we're gonna put it into desktop, right? Okay. Now, for you to be able to do it through desktop, right, you have to go into here, which is called environmental, edit system environmental variables. Okay, so you go here, environmental settings. Now, make sure it's under system variables. You find path, click on edit, right, new, and here you see you need to paste this one. Basically, go to your, you see this when you're MongoDB server, take this path and stick it in here, like this. Now, if it's not working for you, try to do it with this key, which is a semicolon, and I think for Windows 7 you have to do it that way. But because I'm running Windows 11, I can do it this way. So once you have it done, well, I'll show you first the error if you don't have environmental variables set up. Okay, so now we don't have it set up, right? So let's say we want to go, we open our terminal. Well, let's just close this terminal. So let's say we are in here. Okay, so we copy and paste this string, and it should give us an error, right? Yeah, you see, Mongo import is not recognized. That's because it cannot find this file name, Mongo import, right? So you need to add the path. Whoopsie. So you need to add this path to environmental variables, which is environmental variables. Again, make sure it's in system variables. Find path, edit, new, stick this thing in. Okay, okay, okay. Now you should be able to use it, right? Whoops. What did I do wrong? Maybe I should restart. Hold on a sec. Oh my god. I hope I don't have to restart. Yeah, you will probably have to restart, to be honest with you, because that's what I did. Oh no. No, no, no. Yeah, it's working, it's working. It's just that we need to change this to like this. No. It should be here. Oh. Yeah, that's because we need to go to desktop. Desktop like this. Yeah. So it imported now successfully, right? And 3 failed because they're duplicates, right? So now everything is working, right? Just make sure that when you're doing this, you are in the same location as the, what you call it, as your file, and then it works. Okay. So again, if you want to do it from desktop, you have to install the environmental variables, and I already showed you how to do it. Okay. So that's it. That's the whole end-to-end process. Oh yeah, I need to show you that it actually did change the. So whom did we add? We add some dude. What's his name? Bob Director, Bob Smart. Yeah, we just added him. And this should be also, he should be in here as well. Yeah, there he is. So this is how you kind of, you can have a local database, and you can have a remote database as well. Okay, that's it. Take care. Bye bye.